Hello. It's always good to be back on TALKSHOP, where we tell it like it is and let the chips fall where they may. And as we say all the time, which has become a national refrain now, truth crashed to earth shall rise again. And then we have added our promise that we are making to all those apostles of Jandam. You reckless, shameless, disgraced apostles of Jandam, trust me, we are here and we are determined that for your Jandam, we shall crash it with the truth. I'm telling you. And again, what time is it, man? And the answer, as you always give me, it's nation time. It's nation time. We have to build this nation. We will build this nation. Today, let me start off with a very solemn note. You know, I always tell people that I don't have regrets. I always learn from regrets, and I adjust, and I'm always advising myself from my regrets. But the only regrets I really have are some of the things I can't undo. Right now, one of the biggest regrets I have is that I was not able to celebrate Daddy Lumba on the KSM show. Not that I didn't try, I tried. I spoke with the manager, I spoke with management. I think I had a chat with them maybe 2 or 3 times, and we're trying to schedule a date. But there was always something coming in the way, you know, and Nipa, I just said, oh, don't worry, we have time. We have time. And I think I took it easy knowing that one day I'll celebrate Daddy Lumba. And then what happened? And I just said, Charlie, the man has passed. Ooh. So it's so sad. Apart from being selfish, I wanted him on my show. No, let's go beyond my being selfish. That guy was a true icon. That guy was a true legend. Sometimes I don't like using the word legend because we have so minimized the word in Ghana. We are one movie crowd, we are legend. We are legend. But no, that's not a legend. A legend is somebody who has been in there consistently excelling. I've been enjoying Daddy Lumba's songs from I don't know how many years back to back, 10 years, he's excelling. That is a legend, oh. A trail of excellence. A trail of excellence and magnificence, and that was Daddy Lumba. So while I regret for myself that I was not able to host such an icon and celebrate him, all I can say at this time is that I'm sorry I didn't do that. But at this point, my wishes and my compliments go to his wife, his family, his children, and all the close relatives of Daddy Lumba. Please accept our condolences, not for only your loss, for all of us, all our loss. We are very, very sorry. Daddy Lumba, wherever you are, I pray that you rest in peace. And the legacy you have left is tremendous. And Daddy Lumba, rest in peace. Okay. Having said that, I'd like to now move on to the rest of the show. There are particular things that I want to address. And let me start first by addressing this ultimate charlatan. Do you know what a charlatan is? Wait a minute, check your dictionaries and find out what a charlatan is. I want to start with the ultimate charlatan. I think his name is Reverend Fodjour. Reverend Fodjour, shame on you. Reverend Fodjour, I'm looking at you eyeball to eyeball, and let me say, you don't deserve the title Reverend. Shame on you. Why am I saying all of this? So, I mean, how can a reverend, supposedly somebody who has been ordained as a man of God, somebody who has been ordained to preach the love of Christ, that's what you tell us. I'm born again. I preach the love of Christ. How in the world can somebody who is an ordained Reverend Fodjour, open your mouth and say something like, if Muhammad doesn't address the issue at Ablikuma, there is going to be bloodshed in Nakutia.
It's sent a strong signal that if the president wants to continue his inaction in bringing the perpetrators to book, arresting them, prosecuting them, there's going to be bloodshed in Akutia. There's going to be bloodshed in Akutia and future elections.
Reverend, Patrimi Ketri Kakra, what sa Ayawode said there will be bloodshed in Akutia. Oh, I'm sure you'll be at Akutia with your wife and your children. I'm sure you have a wife, and I'm sure you have children. You're going to rally all of them and take them to Kutia and let them join whatever gangs that you plan to send to Kutia, and tell your wife and children essentially, we are going to have bloodshed today. Sorry if I get upset with these things, It's very, very sad and painful when intelligent people all over, plenty of whom are NPP, all over are trying to, when do we move past this partisan nonsense? When do we build our nation? When people are focused, let's build a nation. Let's move beyond this partisan crap. When people are thinking about that, and then a reverend opens his damn mouth and talks about we are going to have bloodshed in Akutia. If the president doesn't do something that you are authorizing, there will be bloodshed in Akutia. Reverend, what is that, Ntim Fodjour? We are serious. Are you serious? No. If you're serious, then I want you to have a press conference and renounce that reverend title you have on you. Renounce it. Throw it away. All you pastors out there who are calling yourselves reverends and whatever titles you're giving yourself and standing in the forefront of Ghanaians telling us nonsense, trust me, I'll come after you. Not with bloodshed, with Nyansa. With Nyansa, I'll come after you to prove to you that you are worthless people. You're calling for bloodshed? You're calling for bloodshed. And then Sunday you go and stand on the pulpit and say what? Our Father who art in heaven, let us, and you actually give the grace, may the grace of the Lord be with us, and things like that. And you have the nerve to open your mouth and say, there will be bloodshed in Kutia. Look, I don't want to spend too much time on you because we are too focused on nation building. And one of the things that we have to focus on nation building is not to let us be distracted by nonsense like this. But unfortunately, that's what we do all the time. Oh, it's just nonsense, don't mind them. No, we have to mind you. Because you are insane. You are not thinking right. And every time I talk about one of the issues that, or the whole nation we should start paying attention to, is our mental health. Because honestly, Reverend Fodjour, what mental problem? If you say you are a reverend and you are born again through Christ, and you can open your mouth and say there is going to be bloodshed, you're looking forward to bloodshed for any reason. Because look, we are reverend. What you are supposed to say, Reverend, listen to me. What you're supposed to say is that there have been many incidents that are not good. There have been many incidents that we need to sit down as a nation to address. But please, as a nation, let's now start talking about and praying for peace. That's what should come out of your mouth. So as a nation, we are going to Akutia, and let us all get together. Let us all fast and pray so that peace is achieved. That is what you're supposed to be saying, Reverend. No. That is what you're supposed to be saying. A reverend cannot open his mouth and say, if you don't do this, there will be bloodshed. And I'm saying bloodshed, no. Take your wife and children and put them in the front line. Say, bloodshed. You're only saying it because it's a partisan stupidity. And this is why we want to build a nation so that we can get beyond this stupidity. We have to. Charlie, NPP, why? Reverend Fodjour, You are disgracing your party. You are disgracing your party. Look, that's why I said the last time that when you had that big conference, when the NPP had the conference, I was hoping to see a new face of the NPP. That the speakers will talk about, Charlie, we lost the election. We are all responsible for losing this election. From our top leaders to whatever. So we are apologizing to all of you out there. Yes, Ramo. And yes, Reverend, if that had happened at the last delegates conference, the mileage that MPP would have gotten in this country, you have no idea. And your Bible tells you that. The Bible says, I will use the foolish things of this earth to confound the wise. That's the meaning of something that you think is not important, like apology, like humility. These are the foolish things of the earth that he's using to confound you wise people. Let me move on. But do you know how much impact you could have made on Ghanaians if you had all appeared in a beautiful rally and apologized to Ghanaians actually where they were atoning for the wrongdoings? We shall give us a second chance to improve ourselves. Do you know what would have done to you? But no, because you think you are wise, God has confounded you. You think that stupid statement you made about there's going to be bloodshed at Akutia is a wise statement, eh? You are confounded, man. You are confounded, or confused. You take your time, go and sit down and listen to what you said, and come back and tell me, say, KSM, I'm a Kai, and I'm a proud reverend of what church, and not that I care. Not just you. This is part of the gendarme that I say that we have to crush if we want to build a nation. Throwing in issues of violence and all of that. Charlie, please. You know, I was having a conversation today. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I said, growing up, by far, some people write to me and say, hey, woman, shut up. Me, shut up. Me, shut up. I am sitting on this wall as somebody who wants nation building, and I'm inviting everybody who is interested in building this nation to join me. That is what is in my blood. And I don't know how much longer I have to live on this earth, but I'll use every inch of the blood and the strength I have in me to make sure that Ghana becomes a better place than I found it. Let me go back a little bit. I was saying that I've grown from the time where NPP was such an attractive party. Okay, so NPP, it was such an attractive thing. Everybody wanted to be NPP because from the days of independence, the NPP had packaged itself as the party of the intelligentsia. We are the wise ones. We know great things. So there was a time in the history of Ghana that the NPP was a very attractive party. But gradually, those of you who are older and in the NPP who are in positions of thinking and leadership, you will know that there's been a shift from the NPP being the party of intelligentsia, the party of gentlemen, the party of lawyers, to the NPP being a party of rascals. I'm sorry. You are making the NPP become a party of rascals, a party of people who are emotional. They just, somebody can stand up and say, if you go see somebody fighting, say, oh, yeah, MPP ni mapa. If you're a proper MPP and you go and see somebody fighting and you see that it's a fight between NDC and MPP, no, NDC, you know.
So we are MPP ni mapa. Now we go to say MPP for, and now say MPP ni any NDC ni ekwa. Who are MPP ni no na yambu NDC ni.
These are the statesmen that have turned your party into trash. I'm serious. The NPP was a very attractive party. I remember back in the day, you put in a boy, hey, onim Darocha, near Bonim Victor Wusu, near Boti Windim Huan Anto. Names. Respected names. And that is what NPP was priding itself in. But slowly, as I was growing, you know, I am witnessing that slowly the NDC is becoming more and more attractive. Meanwhile, at the time that the NPP was attractive, the NDC had no standing. Let me tell you why. And let me catch you more. Look, the NDC came out of the roots of a revolution. J.J. Rawlings started this revolution in 1979, and it was what it was called the African Armed Forces Revolutionary Council. So they came in as revolutionary, you know. It was during that time that there was something in Ghana. For those of you who are in Kolade, you don't know, but those of us in my age and slightly young, know. There was a period in Ghana called Let the Blood Flow. Let the blood flow. That was a period in Ghana that 3 former heads of states were executed at the firing range. Firing range. They were tied to stakes. They were tied to stakes in Ghana here, and they were saying, fire! Shot. They killed 3 former heads of states in Ghana because we were like, we are in the revolution. Let the blood flow. If when we kill people, we are going to stamp out corruption. When we kill, so that was an era. Very, very, very hard era that we went through because of circumstances. I don't want to talk about that now. But I'm just saying that was the roots of the NDC. Because the man who led the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council, Flight Lam J.J. Rawlings, he was the one that eventually came back into power after handing over, and then he started with the PNDC, the Provisional National Defense Council. Also, Soja Sem Niema. Now listen to this, folks. The PNDC, with this revolutionary giddy line, gradually transformed into what is now called the NDC. People are alive, so they just dropped the P. There was a PNDC, and you drop P, and the NDC. So, folks, the NDC had its roots in the resurrection of Jerry Rawlings. Then Jerry Rawlings handed over, came back again with the PNDC, and then the PNDC was transformed to the NDC. Provisional National Defense Council became the National Democratic Congress. So people still at that point remembered, say, NDC crime roots here, violent roots. And that is why the NDC was so unattractive then. Even people who were NDC fellows who go and vote for NDC crime, in public they don't say that. And I mean, I'm NDC. After voting for NDC, that is how unattractive the NDC was at some point in the history of Ghana. Those who know. You can talk to those who know that the NDC at some point was the most unattractive party in Ghana because they were known as hooligans. Or NDC for the hooligans. I remember there was one time, was it the youth wing of the NDC or some part of the NDC near from Veranda Boys? Nkrumah started with Veranda Boys back in the day, and these were like they were not the like the educated people. I think you can call them foot soldiers then, So I think there was a whole period of time when the youth and the NDC and the foot soldiers they formed themselves into a group called the Veranda Boys. Follow me, I'm just telling you why the NDC was such an unattractive party. So many violent Veranda Boys, and all of these things. And it dawned on the NDC, Charlie, if we don't change our image, it's likely that we will be missing out because we are not attracting the intelligent people. We are not attracting the lawyers. We are not attracting the professionals. We are not attracting the doctors. We are attracting the riffraff. And And so it was part of the reason why the leadership of the NDC invited Professor Atta Mills to become a vice president for J.J. Rawlings, just to calm the radical element. You know, yes, let's bring this professor. Nobody knew him. It wasn't like he was active in politics, and it wasn't like he was a visible person. It wasn't like anybody knew Atta Mills. So all of a sudden, NDC said, "Oh, we have a new vice president for J.J. Rawlings. He's a professor." He was an income tax man. And then they brought this gentleman, Professor Atta Mills, on. And that started changing the face of the giddy. It was like, it was calming that whole face down. And it took a while. You know, eventually, Atta Mills came into power, and what did we know him for? Asumdwehene. Imagine, coming from the same tradition that had killed heads of states, the same tradition that had mounted stakes, firing squad. He came and said, I want you to follow me and understand that the history is very, very interesting. You know, so the once party that was known to be violent and giddy, now had a leader who says, I am the father of all. Can you imagine? I am the father of all. And even people who are radical, even still criticize, say, Uba, they also your father of all. Let me tell you one thing that people probably don't know. Eventually, when Atta Mills became the president of Ghana, one of the things that Jerry Rawlings didn't enjoy too much about Atta Mills was Atta Mills is not persecuting or prosecuting NPP officials on my bonnet. So for that reason, Krana, if anything, Rawlings wasn't too much fond of him. Yankas SMEP, but he just thought he was just too much of a cool dude. So follow me on. So, but believe it or not, that was the time that NDC also started getting attractive to others. Because the image was not an image of a violent person and a leader, was a professor or income tax person. Cool. And then guess what? Atta Mills also found him a vice president who is now the president, John Dramani Mahama. Also another cool dude then. So believe it or not, this was the time that changes started happening in the structure of politics. You know, that now the NDC is competing with the NPP in terms of calm people who are in the leadership and things like that. And eventually it started going on between the NDC and the NPP. But gradually the shifts were getting so amazing that the NDC somehow, apart from maybe the radical extremist full soldiers, the top leadership, they were more adapting a more calm demeanor. And at the same time, the NPP was also switching to adopt a more rugged demeanor. When I'm switching by, I'm not giving you the specific in time, I'm just giving you the narration of what has happened up to today. The NDC has become such an attractive party, and you can tell from the results of the last election. They have taken over that cool demeanor, the leadership, the front line from the NPP. And as I was saying, I was hoping that when the delegates conference was coming, we're going to see an amazing shift for the NPP to also to go back to where they started from as the calm party and everything. But no, after such a massive, humiliating loss, they are even riding higher. We are the we. We won't tolerate nonsense. We are the we. We are the mighty. And folks, that is why I'm telling you, NPP, that is why you're losing ground. Because the nature of the Ghanaian is not any longer vested in this kind of radical giddy. People are like, now, even monies you have stolen from this country, let's retrieve the money. All that means is that some resetting, whether you like it or not, is taking place. And if I were you, I will support the resetting and helping the resetting. Because like I've said and I'll keep saying, any party now who does not adhere to resetting this nation cannot find anywhere to put their feet in this nation, because times have changed though. So unfortunately, just watch it. Just watch it yourself and see if I'm lying, folks. All I'm saying is that there has been a shift. Things have changed. Sides have changed. Can you imagine, just for 1 second though, can you imagine that under His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the NPP had 2/3 majority? Even being the minority ponyo, can you imagine the NPP had 2/3 majority? What would have happened? I leave that to your imagination. Now, I want you to follow me with something. Remember what happened at Ayawaso, the election, when thugs came in under the guise of your national security and were messing about, destroying things, slapping MPs and doing everything in Ayawaso. Do you remember? Do you remember? And then we found out that these were NPP thugs. You want to say rules now reverse it? Before, no, they would have said NDC for Nesa. And it was true that the radical ones and the violent ones were those who were coming from the JJ heritage. But look at how that switched. Look at what happened at Techiman South. 8 people killed. And this is all under the watch of those who before were attractive as the learned, gentle people who knew and understood the law. But this is what happened. And here's the funny thing. When Ayawaso happened, did you see then the NDC in minority in parliament boycotting it? Say, I'm sorry, because Ayawaso happened. Did you see that? When Techiman happened, did you see the NDC getting up and say, we are boycotting it? I want you to follow me to understand that the roles were switching. The roles were switching. All of a sudden, the one that was calm, and we had the men, and that were the gentlemen of the day, were becoming the radicals and the veranda boys. And those who have the personality, those who had the tag of being veranda boys, were coming across as more gentle and more quiet. So I also happened, not a whimper from the NDC. 8 people were shot in Techiman, not a whimper. Reverse that to what has happened at the Ablikuma. And see, has the NPP said, oh, it was just an election thing and be quiet? No, they haven't. They are up in arms. They got out from parliament and left parliament because they are not going to be a part of that quote-unquote silly media review. You know, we have more important things to do. And what did they do? They marched to Jubilee House to present a petition. Surprisingly, I think the petition was received by Julius Debra and Stan Dobe. They gave the NPP the respect and the courtesy to at least meet them. Let us reverse that and see when, at one point, when NDC, when they were in a minority, and said they were going to the Electoral Commission to present a petition. That petition didn't even go anywhere. NPP wouldn't allow it. They were stopped. And that was not even going to the president too. They were just going to the Electoral Commission. Even there, they were stopped. Do you see how the roles have reversed? Before you would have thought that it is under an NDC quote-unquote legalism that these things will be stopped. But no, it has reversed. So the NDC was stopped. Even the Electoral Commission, on your president, but they wouldn't even allow them to go through. So folks, this is my point here. And I'm doing this show to tell Ghanaians, because me a national person, that we should all start thinking of what we need as a nation, not as a party. As a nation, we need peace. We need justice. And whatever we need to do to get there, we have to, intelligently. But when you apply all kinds of brute force and emotional things, it does not work. And today, actually, let us start rethinking towards building this nation. Akwetia, you know, not just the ridiculous reverend who's talking about bloodshed.
Send a strong signal that if the president wants to continue his inaction in bringing the perpetrators to book, arresting them, prosecuting them, there's going to be bloodshed in Akwetia and future elections.
I've even heard some media people make the same kinds of statements. Akwetia, how can you in 2025 be excited and prepared that we're going to see bloodshed in Ghana? And sometimes this is where I worry, whoever the IGP is, this is where I want to see the IGP having a press conference backed by whatever force that he has, that we want peace in Ghana. We are going to make sure that we are the peace officers. We will make sure that there is peace in Ghana. And if you try, you will see. And let the law deal with hooligans. IGP, I'm giving you a missed call too. Say something or say something. Don't sit down and watch till the time we get to Akwetia, and then whoever ridiculous people from whichever party can come and create a scenario for violence and bloodshed. You should be right now be giving press conference and we'll make sure say that never happens in Ghana. And even if it's the army that will come and assist the police to make sure that that never happens in Ghana, and anyone who tries that should be dealt with by the law severely, so that foolish people can stop using their platforms to call for bloodshed, whether you're a reverend or whether you're a sycophantic jandam journalist. Say me cry microphone here, I'm going to call for violence. Who born dog? Who the hell do you guys think you are? Let Ghana be, let Ghana be. Let it Ghana evolve to a point where we become one people, one nation with one destiny. Let me end it here because I have many coming your way. But let me say, so long as people, not just me, there are many people who are sitting on the wall quietly who want nation building. And one of the things that this platform will do, together with other platforms that we know are looking for nation building, we are all going to hook up together and your individual works to build this nation. Because we don't want any divided front among those who want nation building. Let's all get together and build this nation. And the momentum for building the nation is there. So let me wrap up for now. As I wrap up, there's only one advice that I'll give the NPP. Isn't it sad that your image is changing from a cultured people who had the man to save Ghana? It's now changing to a leaderless, amorphous group of people who talk with emotions and not intelligence. I think Reverend Fodjour was talking with intelligence when he was promising a bloodbath in Akwetia. No. My advice to you, and take my advice, please, and decide, say, Ghana, whether we are in power or not, Ghana wants nation building. So we will all do whatever we can to support that this nation is built. And trust me, when we do that, glorious Ghana with a black star will definitely rise again.